Hi, I'm Whack.
And I'm Pat, and this is the weekly orbit for the week ending the 14th of July, 2023. We've got a great episode again for you. We're going to go over some statistics and analytics, of course. Big week for deposit pool, some rocket pool or RPL news, along with we've got a special surprise at the end. We're going to go through the unboxing of a Proteus machine for node operators might be interested in that. So how are you doing, Whack?
Yeah, I'm good. It's been a busy week in Rocket Pool land, and I had another hour and 10-minute episode on Monday. So
Yes,
yeah, there was a whole
that
lot
was a
going
good
on.
episode. I did watch the whole thing. There was a lot
That's
to
amazing.
cover.
There's a lot to cover, yeah. And it's only getting started, right? Like a lot of seeds were planted for the next few weeks and months coming up. So as always, there's so much going on. And now we've got another whole like 6 to 8 months worth of content like ready up ahead coming up. So it's going to be really exciting.
It is. It's great. There's no summers off with Rocket Pool. There's always stuff going on. So let's start out with node operators this week. Another July, we're at about 66, about halfway through the month now. So we're on pace for, let's say, 130, which would be a pretty good month. They still keep rolling in as usual, which is good to see. And we'll skip right over to our deposit pool, which is a good week. Whack, what do you see here on the daily from July 7th through the 14th?
Yeah,
I see a
so
big bump in there.
there's a huge bump in there. We're going to be talking about that later in the episode, but on the 12th, we had 9,100 ETH deposited into the deposit pool. That, of course, was the biggest single deposit in a long time. I think in like 4 or 5 weeks, if not since May even, or maybe beginning of June. So we've really like smashed it this week, and of course we will be talking about why that's happened, because this is one of those reasons, one of those situations where we can see a direct cause and effect, but that, of course, we will be talking about the Eigenlayer. Well, yeah, actually that was because of Eigenlayer, right? And how there's this restaking platform coming up. It's in the early stages, getting started on mainnet. It's called Eigenlayer. They are at the moment accepting liquid staking tokens, and they raised their cap for the liquid staking tokens this week because it was maxed out. One of those tokens that they're accepting is rETH. So a whole lot of people, basically over 1,000 people, as you can see right there, minted rETH in order to deposit it into Eigenlayer. And really what they're doing and what I'm doing is airdrop farming, basically, by depositing some in there. So I made a video a few days ago kind of talking about how to do that between the time that the increase went live and I sat down to be able to record it. rETH and STETH pools were already full, so I had to buy Coinbase ETH, CBETH in order to deposit it. So
Yeah.
just by making the video, but it was really like their TVL is growing really fast, and as you can see, that huge spike in one day there. Like this was the second biggest, I think, or third biggest day for the number of depositors into the deposit pool as well. So
Was there also some folks thinking they were going to get an airdrop from Rocket Pool? They're putting in like 0.1 ETH in the... Mm-hmm. There's a scam going around the internet, wasn't there?
Yeah, there's been a few like scams there's been a lot of scams actually going around lately, and this was, as far as scams go, like one of the more benign ones. It's just like this idea that Rocket Pool will have an airdrop at some point. Little do people realize that we had an ICO in 2017 and the token's fully diluted, so there's nothing for the team to airdrop you. They're not going to give you any RPL tokens that's already out there. They're not going to give you any rETH. Obviously, you have to mint that yourself for ETH. So I don't know what the logic is, but hey, they're welcome to keep minting if they want. I'm not going to stop them. It's a permissionless network, but I don't think they're doing it with the expectations of staking profits. They're definitely doing it with the expectations of some kind of airdrop farming.
Right. I mean, the gas, if you deposit 0.1 ETH, on some days that might be, the gas might be just about as much as the deposit.
Yeah,
but
it can take many years to earn that back, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So regarding Eigenlayer, so here's the tweet thread by Eigenlayer. They increased the staking cap from 9,600, which they had established a few weeks ago or a month ago, to now about 30,000. And as you said, it filled up, quite fast. So what's we talked about this before. Now, are they just, they increased it again? Is this just to create FOMO interest, airdrop? Because you're not really getting anything back for depositing in their, there's smart contract risk. It's a new protocol. People are putting in money in, but they're not really getting anything out.
Yeah.
So from the user's perspective, they're thinking, well, maybe I'll get an airdrop. But from the team on Eigenlayer's perspective, what is the point? Are they just is this just kind of testing for them?
Yeah, literally no one has any idea what they're doing with it. Like, honestly, people have asked in their Discord, people have tried to ask each other about it. But as far as I know, no one has given any satisfactory answer as to what they are doing with all this LSTs token, the tokens that they're accepting as deposits. No one knows. They just sat there basically, and it's just buzz. It's just FOMO, I guess. Maybe it's just hype, but I don't know what's going to happen with that. The main thing, that they were hyping from the beginning was that they were going to have their node operators running the Eigenlayer stack alongside their node. Now that makes sense. That seems like an actual product. However, we're at least a few months away from that, if not more. And in the meantime, they're accepting LSTs, but I have no idea what they're doing with those LSTs, because instead of LSTs, right, it could literally be any token that is providing security. As long as it has some value, by locking it in there, you could say, people have locked up this value, but in reality, it doesn't really make any sense.
Right. Gotcha. Well, I'm sure we'll find out more in the months ahead with Eigenlayer. The next stat we have is, it's been a rough couple of weeks for RPL. The ratio is down to 0.019. One thing about this chart is on RocketScan, you'll see, if we go back a year to July 22, the amount of staked RPL was about 5,759,000.
Yeah.
That represented about 31% of supply. And now, a year later, and we're at over 9 million RPL staked, which represents 46.55 or almost 47%. So you see kind of up and to the right regarding the amount of Rocket RPL being staked, locked away, which is good. And then on the downside, on a thinly traded token like RPL, it reduces the supply that's for trading. And so when you have, we've talked about this before, you have some sells, they can really move the price down quickly, because as more and more of this supply is staked, there's less and less liquidity.
Yep.
And that has been a concern. But if you want to comment on that real quick.
Yeah, if you actually scroll down this page, you can actually see the supply that it takes to move the token. So keep scrolling down, and there's a Uniswap version 3 chart. It keeps going. I think it's a little bit further down. I'm fairly sure it's on this page. No, maybe I'm mistaken. I think it's on the homepage actually of rocketscan.io, but there's a chart, right? It shows that to move the price down, it's a lot easier. You need fewer ETH cells to go down, then you need to go up. There's liquidity chart, right? So you can see to get down to 0.005, you need even to get down to 0.0015, which is just 25% down from 20% down from where we are. You need around about 1,000 ETH there. Look, just over 1,000 ETH. But then after that, to go down to 0.005, it's very, very little ETH there. There's less than 100 ETH in that whole gap. So if someone was to come out right now and dump 1,200 ETH onto Uniswap, the price would go to zero. That much RPL. So it's 65,000 RPL. The price would literally go to zero because there's just no liquidity there. So that's what it means by liquidity being really thin. However, on the way up, you can see that a lot more people are selling on those prices, and to get up to those levels, you'd have to buy 10,000 ETH worth of tokens to get up to pretty much like 0.05, which of course is a 2.5x from here, which would be amazing. So if there's any whales watching this, like, and if you've got 10,000 ETH lying around, feel free to do a market buy of RPL and Uniswap. Like, I'm not gonna say no to that.
Yeah, really.
So, yeah, that just shows you where the imbalance is in tokens.
Correct.
Yeah.
And there's been talk of funneling some of the ODAO rewards into the incentives committee, which would help incentivize some liquidity on the RPL side. That was a proposal by Jasper, which is still being discussed, correct?
Yeah, that's being discussed. It's something that I'm supportive of. Of course, I want to see more numbers about it. I want to see more research going into it. But on surface level, it seems something that would be really good for Rocket Pool to have, more money going into the providing liquidity, because we really need that depth, right? So people could come in and out of positions a lot more easily, and liquidity is huge in terms of building confidence in the protocol. And of course, Jasper's other part was to incentivize bridging rETH onto layer 2s and providing robust bridge support, fast bridging as well, and that's incredibly important as well. So I think both of those things would be really good. Of course, I want to see more discussion, more research going into that, but that is a nice place to start, I think.
Yeah. And speaking of Jasper and RPL, there's the big news this week was a Chainlink price oracle is now live for the RPL token. So this is going to allow RPL to be used in DeFi. So, I had a tweet this week. I should have posted it here. But, RPL now has 3 forms of utility. It has its governance portion, which allows it node operators who've staked RPL to vote on different governance issues. Number 2, it has utility as a token that is needed to stake as a node operator through Rocket Pool. And now number 3, the token can be used with lending and borrowing, and eventually soon lending and borrowing within DeFi. And if we switch over here to Aave, there's a proposal right now. And do you want to talk about this for a moment? Adding RPL to Aave version 3?
Yeah, so, Aave is one of the most well-known lending borrowing protocols. And what they're doing is they are, the vote has already passed. It's reached quorum and everything is all good. It's going to end in 5 hours, but, the numbers won't change now, right? It's going to go through. So they are going to accept RPL to be deposited and be lent out. So you won't be able to borrow against your RPL at the moment, but you will be able to deposit it, and other people will be able to borrow that basically. And then they're going to wrap it. Mark Zellers kind of mentioned that he wants to wrap it in a kind of a product where people will be able to bring their rETH to Aave, 10.4 ETH worth of rETH, and for that they'll get 8 ETH back, and then they'll also get 2.4 ETH of RPL back, and then they'll be able to use that to spin up a validator on Rocket Pool. And what that means is that they'll get 0 RPL exposure, because as they repay their loans, they'll be able to give back the RPL and keep the ETH profits to themselves. So that seems like a really interesting product, and I'm curious to see how that's going to work out. But this really does open.
I'm curious, how would it be paid back?
Right. So the interest rates for the RPL section would be probably around the rewards rate, and then the interest rate for the ETH part will probably be around the rewards rate. So the ETH staking price rate a little bit less probably. So you keep the difference for the ETH, you'll pay the RPL plus interest back, and then in terms of the rETH rewards, you'll be accruing those at the same time. So there's it seems like it'll be a profitable strategy. But at the moment, it's going to be quite small. If you scroll down, they're only going to start off with a limit of 105,000 RPL supply cap, and then they'll see how that's getting along, and then they'll move forward from there.
Yeah, and that's typical. Aave is very conservative, rolling things out like that. It's pretty normal. Yeah. And they've had success with it, though, and it shows if there's a market fit, product market fit as well. But that's a cool idea, because I do know people who they like the fact that you can earn a higher staking rewards with Rocket Pool, but then they like the smoothing pool, but then they really love just holding ETH, and they don't want to hold any other token. So for that type of person, this type of product would be perfect. You just put in your 10.4 ETH, and you get a token back, and then 10.4 rETH. Yeah. And then you're able to stake and get all the great benefits of Rocket Pool without exposure to RPL.
Exactly.
It's great. Yeah.
Well, then I'm sure there'll be other new products coming out as well. The Oracle will really let people get creative with the kind of products you can create with RPL. And it's just a matter of time before the smaller protocols start allowing it for like lending and borrowing. And then the bigger ones will start doing it too. So it'll be pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be nice to, if you've got RPL in your wallet, or say you're one of those whales, or folk that don't have to be a whale, but you have over 150% collateral, you got some extra, hey, I can earn 3-4% if I just deposit it here, and rather than just have it sit and earn nothing in your wallet.
Absolutely. So. Yep.
Okay, last thing on RPL was this. This is a really nice chart. One of our community. I'm sorry, I don't have the. What's a community member who
Harpocryptes.
did this? Harpocryptes. Yes, thank you. It's a nice chart. It really puts together this distribution of RPL collateral amongst the node operators. And as we see, especially with the 8 ETH, you got a lot of folks down at the lower end. 16 ETH, you still have a lot at the lower end, but also you have some spikes at the higher end. One thing you can't help but notice, Whack, is there's quite a few people who are under 10% collateral, which means they're not going to get rewards next period unless they top it off. So, hey, if you're one of those people, buy a little bit of RPL. The price is good right now.
Yeah, they can either buy RPL, but I think this idea kind of came through like the community where you kind of bought an entry ticket using the RPL that you had to get outsized ETH rewards. And then maybe, those people who went under 10% they're just thinking, I don't really care about the RPL rewards. What I want is the ETH rewards. And because of that, the RPL rewards can, just sit there, and it doesn't really make that much of a difference to me. But what I really want is those outsized ETH rewards. And then on a long enough timeline, the ETH rewards will balance out and go ahead of the RPL collateral that you put in the beginning. I think it's like 4 or 5 years or something like that. And at that point, then, you're in pure profits with your ETH, and you'll just keep getting the outsized ETH rewards. I'm not saying that, those people have done that. What's happened is they came in around the Atlas hype and that period before it, when the ratio was higher, and then they just kind of got stuck. And they might not be in a position, where they can buy more RPL to top it up, but that's fine. If they wait it out, I'm sure, hopefully soon, they'll be in a position where they can, when they can start earning higher amounts again.
Yeah, I mean, if the ratio eventually starts going back up, this graph kind of slides, all those bars start sliding to the right, and you're back in over 10% again. So it may just take care of itself through market movement.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, on to the next thing. This is great. The Nouns treasury is diversifying. They're swapping 500 WST ETH, that's wrapped Lido ETH, for rETH. And it's only 500, but this is hopefully the beginning of a trend of DAO treasuries diversifying into rETH. I know that Nexus Mutual has a forum vote that it will be, I think, finished tomorrow on depositing 14,400 of their ETH into rETH. So this is the first one. Hopefully we'll have a lot more after this, and that could be a real powerful driver for Rocket Pool growth.
Yeah, so with this Nouns vote, this is just like almost like a temperature check vote to see how it all works. And then there's the people who've put together this proposal and got it passed have kind of insinuated that they will be working on another proposal to move over 7,000 more WST ETH into rETH using the same mechanism, which is this time-weighted market maker TWAM method, which is a novel method they're using. The Nexus Mutual vote, actually, at the moment, the way it stands, is going to pass because the advisory board has voted 4 out of 5 in favor for that. The main community hasn't reached quorum, but the the advisory board has reached quorum at 4 out of 5, so that should hopefully be passing in, I think, 8 hours time or 6 hours time, something like that. So by the time we wake up tomorrow in the US, the Nexus Mutual vote should have passed, and then I'm not sure of when they're going to swap or how they're going to swap, because the deposit pool currently doesn't have enough space for a straight swap, but maybe they'll do some through the deposit pool and do some through a secondary market, or maybe they'll just wait a few days until some whale spins up mini pools and then they'll have enough space in the deposit pool for swapping. But that's really exciting too. So this is it's one of those situations where it's slowly and then all at once, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's what happens here as well.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
All right, on to the next item. Token Motion has a really fabulous animation. This is done by one of our community members, Sleety, who does. He helped you out with the rocket fuel animation, didn't he?
Yeah, all the branding that you have for Rocket Fuel was done by Sleety, who did an amazing job. Like, I absolutely love the work he's done. I've commissioned him to do more work since then, and anytime I want any kind of graphical work, I'll probably be going straight to Sleety to do it.
Yeah, he's very talented, and what's nice about this whack is it breaks down, and he did one before on node operators, and now he's doing it on the other side, rETH, and kind of give it a buyer's guide, but puts it in a graphical animation, and it's really nice because it simplifies things for someone who is just new to the Rocket Pool ecosystem or crypto. This is really nice. I mean, I even like going through it because it's just it's beautiful and it's easy to understand, and he has a real talent for this. So, cheers to Sleety, and I'm really happy to see community members stepping up and doing great work like this. And this is the type of thing, when the bull market comes back, whack, you got some new folks who may not have been exposed to crypto before, or perhaps some folks from the last bull run who were here temporarily, and they come back. Stuff like this is really, I think, very important. It's educational and makes it simple for them to understand. And, hopefully we make them buyers of rETH or perhaps even a node operator.
Absolutely, yeah. So Sleety, like I said, and like you just said as well, has been putting out really great work. So this is Sleety's 4th thread that he's put out, the animated thread. He got a GMC grant in January to make one thread every month, and he's got 2 more threads left of this grant cycle, and then he's also applying for another grant cycle, 6 more months of threads. So by the time we go forward in a year or so, then potentially, if there's a bull run in a year's time, then we'll have like 12, maybe more of these threads that you can point people towards to really understand where Rocket Pool is going and like how it all works, because it is kind of complicated, really.
Yeah, it is. When I remember when I first entered crypto, years ago, it was a little overwhelming, some of this stuff, but I'm really happy that we have stuff that can make it easy to break down our products for the general consumers out there.
Absolutely.
So well done. All right, next item. So a lot of folks, whack, they use the Intel's Nuke computers, NUC, I should say, as their staking machines at home. And for some reason, Intel is calling it quits when it comes to NUCs. So what do you think? Is it because there's now... Is this going to impact solo operators, or is there other products out there? Do you think that's going to be able to slide in and take up the slack?
Yeah, I think it's already happening, like solo stakers now are seeing that there's more and more options out there than NUCs. NUCs are kind of more on the more expensive end. I personally have 2 NUCs that I run, and I also have a Proteus, but going forward, like the Rock 5B board is so strong in running validators, like it's kind of like eating a chunk of the NUC's validator share. Of course, the NUC had much more going on than just Ethereum validators, but it's been a tough time for Intel recently, and I think that they're downgrading as a company and like letting off a lot of people. And this was kind of like a niche product, so I don't think it's it was worth it for them to carry on with it. So they're letting it go. But I think that helps us transition quite nicely to the next part.
Yes, and there is competition out there. Our good friend Joe from the team has his own little company called Mercadian Systems, which makes the Proteus, and we just happen to have one right here back. Freshly delivered from Joe himself, and we're going to unbox it I have not opened this yet. It's been sitting here for a few days, and so let's take a look. It's our first live...
You should stop screen sharing so we can see a little more of it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, let's do that. Thank you. Oh. Okay, there we go. All right, so there it is. Very compact. As I recall, seeing this in person when I was at ETH Denver WAC, it was about the size of a Roku. If folks are familiar with those. I was surprised when I saw it in person how small it was. And Joe's done a really good job.
A little bit smaller than Nook, for those of you who have Nooks. And it's really compact, like the Rock 5P board. Like this has active cooling, so it's a little bit bigger. But there's frames that you can get for the Nook that are even smaller, especially if you go kind of like on one of those open frame kind of settings. Okay, let's. Why don't you tell us what's inside the box?
Okay, so we have a nice little. You have my name on it, Mercadian. To Pat. I think we got some instructions here. Dear Pat, wow, this looks official. And this is a nice little. I'll read this later, but Joe Klappis, he writes as opening paragraph, when I first got into Ethereum staking game, I was determined to make it work as efficiently as possible. Staking with under 10 watts of power on an affordable machine, set up right out of the box, all while performing just as well as the best nodes out there. That was the dream. It took almost a year of research and development, testing and tweaking, learning and failing and trying new ideas, but we did it. We found a way to bring that dream to life. We built the Proteus. Oh, that's really great, Joe. Let's see what the second sheet is. Congratulations on your new Proteus. If you ordered a full unit, you should find everything you need to create your own rocket pool node and start your Ethereum staking adventure. Okay, and there's some more on there, but I won't go into. So let's take a look at the actual machine. I'll pull it out of the box. Okay, we've got I don't know what that is. We'll take a look at that later. Got the power supply.
The main question is, what color 3D printing did you use?
What color do you think?
Orange, of course, like all of us.
Of course, yeah. Got an Ethernet cable. That's very nice. And there it is.
Yes, it's tiny.
It's orange.
Yep. Did you get a face?
Of course.
Plate?
It's very compact. Okay.
Did you get a faceplate for it?
No. No, I got cheap.
Yeah.
I got the blank faceplate.
That's
But
nice.
it is available if you're thinking about a Proteus. Joe will customize this little faceplate with whatever you want for a small additional fee. As you can see, he 3D prints these at his home. And on the back, you see we've got some USB port. We've got the Ethernet port here. We've got some USB 3s, and I think this is USB 2, if I'm not mistaken. We've got a HDMI ports, And then we've got a power port. And what's the small one? Do you know?
I think that's maybe USB-C or Fireport. I'm not sure.
See, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I get them mixed up. So what we have here is a little vent on the bottom for cooling, I think. This is the fan.
That gives you access to the hardware underneath if you need to. That's easy access to the hard drive, I think, or something. Yeah.
It says heatsink.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and then we have the fan on top with the vent. And is yours fanless, or did you get the fan?
No, none of them are fanless. Joe wasn't able to get those cases, so they're all active cold.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so there it is, folks. Oh, you have a power, LED indicators on the front, of course. And what's amazing, this thing's going to run 5 to 10 watts, probably normally in the 5-6 watt range. Perhaps when you're syncing, it's a little higher. But literally, this little box, you can stake your Ethereum and validate a network worth hundreds of billions of dollars through this little machine. It's really amazing when you think about it. And so I'm happy to get it. And it looks great. The orange is awesome. It looks great. I'm really happy. And I'm going to definitely hook this up. I'm going to take my time on this whack. We can run testnet for a while just to get used to it. And that's what I'll be doing. And then when I feel comfortable, we'll make it, have it go live on mainnet. So
sounds wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Congratulations.
All right, folks. So if you're interested in this, there'll be a link in the show notes to Mercadian Systems and Joe. And he's making these one by one, and he'll get you on the list, and you'll get yourself one as well.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So, all right. So that concludes this week's episode. Like and subscribe. Of course, none of this is tax advice. And WAC, we'll see you again next week. And everyone out there, thanks for listening. We appreciate all your views and listens. So take care, and we'll see you later.
See you next time. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.